Right then, podcast number 2.
Yeah.
First one went alright, didn't it?
It did, yeah. First, I've got a few apologies to make.
Oh god, here we go, Alex.
Unfortunately, a few people got quite upset when it came to the comments I made last week. So I just want to apologise to Ben Robson and Rhys Wakefield for saying you should support your local. You know, at the end of the day, I'm sorry you discovered football about a year ago. So, Liverpool and Manchester United.
Oh god.
Standard.
Pretends to be short.
So yeah, go up, would you? There you go.
Aye.
Okay,
On the podcast?
onto the podcast.
I nearly picked up my microphone thinking it was my drink.
Yeah. Are you bevved already?
No, I just can't see. My glasses are gone. It's not good.
My glasses. Right, so I've got a bit of a topic for today, boys.
Oh.
And I've been thinking about this for a long time, like for months. And we've briefly touched up on this before.
Not even been introduced.
I know.
What?
Not even been introduced.
Oh yeah, who
They just don't know who I am. I'm just some randy. I've just fucking popped up on camera.
I mean, I think Mark's just trying to say he doesn't care about you at this point, you know?
Aye.
I mean, that is somewhat true, but the viewers might. So for their sake, this is Alex. He's a Chester fan. He does commentary for Chester as well.
Every now and again, yeah.
Every now and again. And yeah, he was... Well, you were technically in the last podcast, just not on the actual...
And you could hear my ramblings in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
So yeah,
I'll let
he
you know.
is relevant to this podcast, in a way.
In a way.
He's not,
In a way.
No,
Well, he's already. But
I'm never coming back after this.
we don't pay him at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
We just let him out from your basement. He's tied up down there.
Moving on. So, my topic that I want to bring up, right, is... Right, this is interesting. Think about it before you say your answer.
Right.
Should ex-players become referees?
Mm-hmm.
What do we think? Initial thoughts when you hear those words.
If they can become managers, then yeah, I don't see why not.
Mm.
I guess it's an understanding of the game thing.
Yeah.
Understanding
Like
the rules
from
of it.
a player's perspective.
What I will say, and this goes the same for managers and all coaches getting into the game or whatever, you've got to do your qualification. You can't just expect to just walk into it.
Of course.
Because,
As someone who studied sports coaching as well, I more than agree with that.
you can't just expect to just walk into it. Like all these managers who get these jobs, they've got their qualifications to their credit. You can't just expect to just get a job off the fact that you scored a couple of goals in the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
That's not even shots at anybody in particular. I'm just thinking of just an example of
Steven Gerrard.
He's got his qualifications.
To be fair.
He's got his qualifications.
So what do you think when I say that?
There's a few issues on that. It depends on the player because a lot of players are sort of jump around about 50 odd teams across many leagues.
That's true.
Absolutely.
And that could
Then
cost-
again, referees support teams as well.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to sit.
Not allowed to.
Exactly.
Games.
For example, Mark
Then just
Blackburn.
put it in the same. Then just put that in the same bracket.
But a lot of players that played across probably most of the Premier League teams.
No, I'm not saying that all referees should be ex-players. I'm saying if there was a player like, say, for example, I would say I was going to say. Right, I'll say Lampard, even though he's now a manager.
I'd say like Ryan Giggs or someone who has stayed at pretty much one club for most of
Yeah, like
their
players
career.
like that, right?
Mhm.
Players who spend most of their career at like 1, 2, maybe 3 clubs.
Mm.
I mean, their understanding and perspective of the game, like, because everyone goes on about this whole idea of modern football and it's basically a non-contact sport anymore, right? If you want ex-players from this not modern football era, so they can make the decisions, see what they think of it, and take it from the player's perspective, then I don't see why it can't be given a go.
Yeah, good.
See, I feel like but the referees from nowadays, they were watching football when it was this non-modern football physical style. So why can't they do the same thing? It's the rules, isn't it? It's the rules. It's the clamping down on certain things. It's stupid things like the new handball rule in the Premier League with VAR, where no matter if it's deliberate or not, if a ball comes into contact with an arm in the lead up to a goal and in the EFL, then you can't get the goal. It's just a rule, I guess, isn't it? It's like that's just a case of following the rules and stuff like that, and you've got to not let the emotion get the best of you. As awful as it is, and as we'll all complain as football fans about referees and whatnot, and they should give the benefit of the doubt, whatever, they're just following the rule. And there's certain things where it's like, you can argue it's a bit questionable, making a wrong decision or whatever. But I feel like most of the time they're just doing what they're told.
When it comes to players as well, there probably can be less cut than referees nowadays. If you look at, I think, was it Clattenburg who was refereeing that Chelsea and Spurs match, where he's come out and said that he was told to call it in Chelsea's way to make him went in.
Yeah.
He was told to call it one way.
But I
He
think
was paid off by the
I
FA.
don't know.
because you've got players, right? Hold on. Because I've said this just before. If a player looks on another player's perspective, it's gonna be, because if a player gets a yellow card for a tackle that realistically they think, and a lot of people might think that is fair enough, like you could see why they attempted to go for it, and that could, if a referee could be on the same wavelength as a player, then I think decisions would be better, and you know what I mean. And I think an ex-player as well, because a lot of ex-players are mentors. For example, Alan Shearer, Ryan Giggs, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard.
That's probably the biggest at the minute when it comes to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Him getting Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham,
especially with the transfer ban and all that as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
Tomori as well.
Exactly.
So, East James.
You know, is this just a Chelsea podcast? Like,
it's a good example, isn't it?
Because they can mentor players in a managerial sense. They can be like, right, they can show authority in a referee sense.
Yeah, it's like,
and I think referees are losing authority.
You talk about like the understanding of the players and like how they'll be able to relate to their issues and appeals and whatever. Like it's the same with managers. Like Lampard going to Chelsea, he understands the passion of the club. Gerrard was able to manage Liverpool. He managed a youth setup. He came through that. So he understands like dealing with the youth of these clubs, and like Lampard dealing with the senior players and the fans and the passion of it and everything. I think with referees it'd just be more in a general footballing sense. They got passion for the game, which I don't deny.
I mean, they definitely do.
But like,
I mean, we'll talk about
a player like coming into it like haven't played like 20-25 years in the game or whatever. However long. Like there's no reason why they can't, other than journeyman. Really, you've got to sort of.
You've got to come down on bias.
There's certain people you've got to be a bit.
Like if you got a journeyman, like the first character that I think of, Michael Gash, for example, who played for a lot of non-league clubs. Kevin Ellison.
We love the bloke.
Yeah, you've got who else would we say?
Come to Chester, please, Kev.
Jamil Matt, even players like Ruben Reid. These is Football League sort of sense of an idea. But yeah, all these players, like if they were referees, maybe it'd be a bit difficult to put them in a different place because you got to think about rivalries. But as we were saying, if we've got players like who play for like a singular club, like for example Steven Gerrard, but obviously not Gerrard because he manages the club now. Players like that, they could definitely do that job.
They've come through the setup and say it's very. But the issue from that is it's very rare nowadays for a player to stay at one club. Yeah,
but that's nowadays. One thing of players who have previously played. I think it's a lot of ex-footballers do stay fit as well.
Yes,
and
that's true.
And obviously, I'm not saying. Well, I'm sure a lot of referees are fit, but
Big John Barnes, great example of a player staying fit.
Exactly. You have Jamie Carragher who played at one club for most of the time. Phil Neville, yeah. Gary Neville as well.
Yeah, Shearer went to 3 clubs. It was
so they could definitely all play.
Southampton, Blackburn, and Newcastle.
Yep. Exactly, that's only 3 clubs. It could definitely work. Like especially like if you put them in the lower leagues as well.
Get Shearer ref in League 2, yeah.
Yeah, like let's be fair. What 18-year-old Oldham player is gonna try and step up to him?
To be honest,
Vinnie Jones. Could you imagine him as a ref?
That would not be a good idea. Just absolutely flatten some poor kid.
Okay, we will say Vinnie Jones.
He's absolutely voluminous. Someone tried it.
We'll go for, let's say, Roy Keane.
Roy Keane was one of the players who used to give it up but never used to get anywhere. You always think he's like.
I think he's still the same now, to be honest.
I'm
not a big fan of him. He was.
He just talks rubbish. He talks absolute rubbish. He thinks he's big.
He just gives it the old. He's still giving it the whole. I'm the big guy sort of thing.
I'm not repeat what Shearer said to wind him up because on camera, but Shearer said something.
We haven't put anything in the swear jar yet.
No, we haven't. We've been good today.
Do you know what could put something in the swear jar? The discussion about VAR and goal line technology.
Here we go.
Can I just say I feel sorry for the Bournemouth fans at the minute, massively.
Yeah, it's the thing is Bournemouth is such a tough one because it's like it was 9 games ago.
Yeah,
something like that, and you got to say 9 games for a long time to sort yourself out, and they lost games in that time.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the points that they lost there really put them down. The points lost that they could have gained on Villa.
Yeah, what game was it? It was
Sheffield United.
Yeah. Bournemouth.
Oh yeah, it was
the first game back.
Where goal line technology messed up.
It's a tough one because it's definitely an indirect. Like I get why they're aggrieved. I'm a bit 50-50 on it all because it's an indirect relationship to them going down.
Yeah.
As I say, they lost games in
What
that
I
time.
think though,
it is in a sense in their hand based on.
What do you think of VAR the thing?
I think it's not used in the right way in our league.
I think it's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing if done well in this league, though. It's just constantly but we don't want to use it because we don't embarrass the referees. It's like referees made the wrong decision.
Do you know, I hate
decision.
everyone's idea of, oh yeah, but it ruins the atmosphere if we've scored a goal.
At
At the end of the day, if you scored a goal and it's offside,
can I have a bit of a ranty?
Yeah.
Right, at the end of the day, I hate the idea that it like kills the atmosphere for that. Think about City v Tottenham. Right?
That was incredible.
With VAR, got rid of Sterling's last minute goal. Tottenham go through, City go out. How did that ruin the atmosphere? Tell me how that ruined the atmosphere. Because there's a packed away end on a Wednesday night or Tuesday night, wherever it was, right? That are now going absolutely mental because the decision's been reversed in their favour. And then a minute beforehand, City fans were going mental. How is that reduced the atmosphere in any way? Yeah, it's crushed City fans. But they're going to get VAR decisions, and they've had VAR decisions in their favour.
Every club have.
A team scores an offside goal before VAR,
Yeah.
right? They score, their fans go mental, flag goes up. Every single home fans go, way! It's atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't understand, like,
The
how...
atmosphere argument's bollocks, to be fair.
It's ridiculous.
absolute bollocks.
It's ridiculous.
And there's
I've
the
always said
50.
this.
Yeah, for the atmosphere, for the
I've actually said it twice.
the thing about VAR, for me, is like, I'm happy for it to be in the Prem.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have it in the FA Cup. Do you know what they do in third and fourth rounds
Yeah,
afterwards?
I don't agree with this.
What they do is, right, they have it where, some of the games have VAR, some of the games don't.
The thing is, right, sorry to interrupt.
How's that fair?
You can't argue the same about goal line technology. Like, League 2 grounds don't have goal line tech.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was speaking to someone who works with a club quite closely. Goal line technology is a very cheap kit and very easy to install.
And also,
in any ground.
Goal line technology as well is black and white. It will tell you if something is something or if it's not.
Well,
Whereas
that
VAR is
was
still...
proven wrong by goal line technology.
yeah,
but that's the first ever they've had.
First ever example.
As
Since,
far as I know.
since like just after the 2010 World Cup they
Yeah.
brought in, like just after that with the whole lamp board incident.
I thought they brought it in like 2012, was it?
Yeah, it was a couple of years afterwards. I think.
2014, I think it was.
Was it 2014?
It was
Then
quite a while
VAR
after.
should have stepped in with that in support of
That's
there.
true,
That
that's
is when
true.
VAR should step
So
in.
my thoughts on VAR is that it needs to be used in sort of a bit more, more common sense situations. It has its strict sort of details to what you can use it for.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That needs to be loosened a bit, I think, because an incident like that has to go down to VAR. It just does. It just does.
Yeah, it really
right?
does.
Like, I'm not being funny. That's a black and white decision. It was a mistake. Not necessarily. It wasn't necessarily a mistake by the referee because he's relying on his watch.
It was an issue with the
It was
equipment.
an issue with the equipment. VAR's there. It can step in and it can reverse that decision. So that needs to be loosened. But also, the referees in the Premier League specifically need to use the screens because they're there.
Mhm.
You saw the 2018 World Cup and it was used absolutely perfectly.
Yes,
It
and
was
consistently.
superb. In Europe, VAR is being used a lot better now.
Yeah.
We're all using these screens. Have you seen the video of the Australian League referee who they put a mic on him for his last game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he uses
Yeah.
VAR in his game, and it works to perfection. It
Yeah.
works really, really well. The Premier League, it's like one of the only leagues in the world that's not doing this properly now. They don't use the screens. This new handball rule is... if it hits a hand in the build-up... Again, this is what I'm talking about, common sense. The rules need to be loosened. That handball rule needs to be scrapped.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. Like, it's what do you call it? Ball to hand.
Ball to hand.
Ball to hand is what you call it on the playground, like. But that is quite literally what it is. Common sense. Referees need to be given more freedom on the decisions that they can make,
Yeah.
and then they'll get less criticism.
Mm.
At the end of the day, they get a lot of criticism.
Indeed.
If you give them that, get rid of that handball rule for me, and then that way, the referees can use their common sense to be like, reckon that's ball to hand, fair enough. We'll allow the goal to happen because there's been 3 or 4 examples, probably more. Maybe that's probably more though that have been overturned this year of that new handball rule. Ridiculous decisions. But also, it's a common sense element. It's literally treated just like a robot.
Yeah.
And it's these
It
certain
really
strict
is.
rules that you
It's
can use.
like-
I
But
get it.
the thing is as well, like as I just said about the FA Cup, and it only being in some games, like what if there's a game in the FA Cup and it's like
Craigie.
right there,
Yeah, I'm good, mate.
wrong pipe.
Cannot handle these drink, lads.
Wrong David, mate. Wrong David. Crikey, that was a voice breaking. Oh,
Say
not good to
there's
be in the pot for that, mate. Jeez.
there's 16 games going on in the there's 16 teams playing in the 5th round, right? So there's 8 games, right? 6 of those games have VAR. Say the other 2 don't. Okay.
Yeah.
And basically, hold on, I'm just gonna put my laptop on charge. So yeah, say there's 8 games playing in the round, the fifth round of the FA Cup, right? And 6 of those games have VAR, 2 don't, because there are League One grounds, for example, right? And I get that you can't install them in League One grounds. It's in some of them it'd be difficult. It would nearly impossible, right? If that happens, and in them 2 games, there's serious issues. And like there's like more controversy, right?
Yeah.
Then you're looking at another team in another game go through because VAR helped them out. These 2 games, those 2 League 1, League 2 rounds are just like, well, okay.
Surely you can install cameras though, but not have the actual screen there. Surely they can.
Surely you could,
cameras,
definitely you could do that. But then at the same time, it's a bit like if you're just not gonna have VAR.
I think it's very costly to clubs, like especially clubs that haven't got a lot of money.
They don't
in the
have
lower leagues.
VAR. And don't have
imagine
VAR
a National League side hosting a
Premier League
round 5 game.
The
They
FA
should
should
then
be
simply,
Well, mate, the Premier League should do a lot more for non-league clubs.
Simply, don't have VAR until the semi-finals then, because they're at Wembley, and that's fair enough. And I'll say the same for the playoffs as well, right? We saw the other day where Brentford, the Brentford manager really thinks that it should have been a red card. A lot of people say it was a red card. I agree. We agree.
Us three, we at the time
agree
said
that it was
modern day football red card 10 years ago.
I can't remember what I said. I think I
Yeah,
I
we
said
were sat here
it's a
and
red.
red.
It's a red challenge, yeah.
it wasn't an easy decision, was it?
It's more the way he's gone in. It's a bit.
Yeah, it's a bit like, and as well,
reckless.
like
He
thing
wasn't in
is,
control.
the playoffs, you've played 42/46 games, depending on what league you're in. And for me, it's a bigger occasion than a cup final. Because you've spent a whole year working on this, right? And then it could just go down the drain as easily. We've both been through it. You recently.
I am now, yeah.
And obviously, that was a lot of controversy in that game.
I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Right,
Yeah.
there's
Must
a lot
be
of
nice.
We'll talk about that after this, aren't we?
Well, let's put it this way. Chester should have had that.
Yeah, so I mean, I won't sit here and say, oh yeah, VAR would have saved us because we're a sick tier club at the end of the day. But who was it? I can't remember. I think it was Jordan Hume for them, or it was Dan Mooney, who funny enough used to play for us. Goes through on goal for them. John Johnson, who funny enough used to play for Altrincham. He's tracking back. Puts in a sliding challenge after Mooney's gone down to clear the ball, but Mooney goes down like a sack of spuds. Referee gives a penalty because he stood behind and then sends John Johnson off because of some rule.
I'm not saying
he made an attempt to the ball, so even if it's a penalty, it's not a red card. End of the day,
Was he last man back then?
he was last man back, but he doesn't foul him.
Right.
He's not foul. It's a fair sliding challenge, and he wins the ball.
He
makes
maybe.
no contact with him, and if there's any contact, Mooney's making more because Mooney's put his arm across like this.
Right.
So there's no contact from JJ. There.
Maybe we can't have VAR. I'm not saying necessarily VAR in.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that at
But
all.
what I'm saying is because that ruined your season, right? Let's put it this way.
It lost us the game.
And last year at Wembley, Newport should have had 2 penalties in their game. Right, I won't speak too much on it because we should have.
I'm not being funny, right? Here's another argument. So personally, I disagree with the FA Cup or the FA or whatever putting in VAR for some games in a round and some games not, because I feel like the difference between goal line technology and VAR is goal line technology is black and white. It's a correct decision or a non-correct decision. VAR is still based on opinions unless it's not side. So I don't feel like you should include that. But I feel like Wembley, if you're going to include VAR in some fifth round games, let's say fifth round for example, some fifth round games, and then not include it in some. Surely Wembley Stadium is a stadium itself, massive, big operation, should have VAR installed into it for a playoff final. Because if you're going to talk about inconsistencies, an inconsistency would be no VAR over the course of a league season, but at least have it for the playoff final. If you're going to go off the inconsistencies with the FA Cup, at least back it up by letting teams use it in the playoffs.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
Because obviously,
it's Wembley Stadium. It's the biggest stadium in this country.
It already has VAR in the Premier League.
Does it have VAR? Does it have the cameras installed onto it, Wembley?
Well, for the FA Cup,
for the Tottenham games.
They should just have.
I don't really remember. The thing is, put it this way, right? Obviously, I'm only using Newport as an example because that's the only one that I could think of as well. We should have had 2 penalties, and that's a fact, and a lot of Tranmere fans will agree as well. So yeah, we should have had 2 penalties, that's a fact. A lot of Tranmere fans will agree with that as well. And if we did, maybe that we would have been League One side for a season, maybe we'd have got relegated. But who knows? But we still would have gone up, most likely.
Okay.
That would be massive for your club as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely huge.
Incredibly
Massive,
huge.
yeah.
And Cardiff, well, I don't know what Cardiff was saying they should have had. I don't know what it was with Cardiff the other day. But Brentford, they're a man down now, going into the next leg of game. If you're watching this in a totally different time, we don't know what's happening. Brentford could be a Premier League side right now.
Yeah, that's true. When's this going out?
Not the ice cream man's outside.
It's an ice cream van outside.
They normally play Forever Blown Bubbles in Cheltenham, but no West Ham tunes today, I'm afraid.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is best summarised by Paddy Power knew the right idea. A referee for a referee.
Yeah.
I think Paddy Power had the right idea the whole time. I think that's what they should bring in. So if a referee's having an absolute shocker, some bugger comes on the pitch and sends him off.
Yeah. But that's like, it's just like, as I was saying, if your playoff game gets messed up by one decision that could happen at any moment, like a 3-second decision, a whole year's of work gone.
Well, the thing is, with our players, for example, our players play for free.
Yeah.
So for the playoff campaign, in order for us to play in the playoffs, our players gave back all of their wages back to the club. We raised £20,000, or just under £20,000, to play towards the playoffs, and we've currently raised nearly 120k for our booster budget for our transfer budget next season, which for a non-league club is massive.
It's a fantastic.
Considering that's raised by the supporters as well, that's absolutely huge. So we've gone through all this effort. Players are giving up. Keep in mind, these are not all of them, but some of them are part-time football players who have families to feed, and they are giving up their money that they earn so that we can play in the playoffs. They want to play for the football, right? We put a year's of work into this. We had a pandemic to deal with. We didn't know if we were going to play. We had all this uncertainty. We had long trips to King's Lynn and all these sort of places, and this is in a regionalised league. That's like 6 hours for Chester, or 5 hours or whatever. We put in all this work, all this effort, and other teams did as well. But at the end of the day, we got shafted by a one referee decision. We were 1-0 down at the time, admittedly, but we were on top in the game. They countered attack. There was a reason there was one player tracking backs, because we was on top.
If it's 2-0,
it's a fair challenge. They get a penalty, make it 2-0, and then they make it 3-0 because we're down a man. And then,
change the whole dynamic.
Put it this way, the game ended 3-2. We got 2 goals back. I hate this term. I hate saying it, but it's kind of apt for this. We drew the second half with. This was in I think it was the 55th minute. The red card. We drew the second half with a man down. Imagine what we'd have done with 11 men.
Exactly. It's like what do you want to say?
I mean, I'm just trying to say the spirit of Chester here is just like a lot of Premier League clubs need to actually take this on board. You know, you're looking at half these overpaid arsewipes. Some of them play for Newcastle, Manchester United. Every single club has an overpaid player who's just there for the money. The spirit of that club there, if their players give them back the wages, so the club can go on to do the playoffs, so they can get new players.
You got to respect it. You have got to respect it.
Masters and his club bunch are like, will take this on board, what Chester have done as a club, and give back to non-league football, lower league and non-league football.
I have a lot of credit for the Premier League for how they've helped non-league clubs.
Well, National League clubs the Premier League has spent given a lot of money to.
They have given a lot of money to us.
Non-league and some football league as well.
I do
grassroots though.
I do think the split is unfair.
I disagree.
I can't.
No, you can't just say it's just grassroots.
No, I'm saying that's
because let's put it this way. Look what happened last year, Bury and Bolton. Right? Look what's happening now. Right? You've got clubs. You've still got Newport. We don't know what we're doing right now.
I believe the Premier League gave back to League One, League
Two.
They
did. But what I'm saying is, it's not only Newport. It's Macclesfield as well. You've got clubs you've got loads of clubs in League Two going through it. Like let's put it this way as well. Like after Walker's Roger the other year got a suspension, the fans brought the money together to give to him to sort it out, to pay for that. You've got a lot of this going on in the Football League, right? It's not just grassroots. And the thing is, think of what the Football League does for grassroots itself, right? You've got all these community initiatives like County of the Community who are fantastic in Newport, absolutely fantastic in Newport. You've got all these clubs in the Football League doing so much good for their communities, right? The schools in Newport are more into sport now, right? And I'm sure it's the same with most of these places that do these initiatives. Swansea, Cardiff, Bristol Rovers, Cheltenham, Forest Green, this, that, the other, Blackpool, this, that have only just got out of their situation, right? The Football League, you could say, the problem is grassroots, but it's not just grassroots. And if the Football League clubs fall apart, the grassroots will inevitably fall apart. Because the Premier League itself, despite all the money, it cannot handle, 20 clubs will not be able to sort out the whole of the UK and the grassroots situation. Because a lot of the grassroots players, they get trials at Football League clubs, high non-league clubs as well, and that's how they survive.
Just look at Jamie Vardy, mate. He wins Premier League Golden Boot this year. He was playing for Stockbridge Spark Steels.
Exactly.
10 years ago, playing for Fleetwood in the National League, played
Connor
for FC
Washington
Halifax Town.
Played for Newport, went to QPR, playing international football with Northern Ireland. Ollie McBurney also played for Newport, kicking about with...
Chris Smalling played for Mason United.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's not just... If you don't have good... Like, if the Football League don't get the help, the grassroots will fall apart, simply. So you can't just go to say, oh, we can sort out the grassroots, because if you sort out the grassroots, it won't happen without the Football League. The Football League is vital.
This is true. And
for England.
This is why it was nice to see the Premier League give some money back. This is what I was trying to say. The split was ridiculous. I can't actually remember the figures, so I'm not going to sit here and go on about it. But the National League North,
I think it was like 40.
I'm not trying to like beg for like, oh, give us more money, whatever. But like, considering some clubs in our league are suffering, it's not like the Premier League where you can get a seasonal budget off your kit sales and your sponsorships alone. Like, we rely on our gate receipts. Without gate receipts, our clubs will die. It's as simple as that.
Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was more talking about so obviously National League clubs need more money. I was on about that, yeah, but I was also on about the fact that I was lucky enough to play for 2 clubs. One of them was luckily got a fund by the council, and the other one got a little bit of funding from, again, it was a registered charity, it was a young person's club, but they had a football club, and a little bit from AC Milan. I'm not getting that's another story.
Yeah.
And I've played a lot of different fields and all sorts. Some of these fields that these kids are supposed to play on, they were clearing needles and all this off the ground, and it's like, these are clubs that need money. You know, I'm lucky enough to have trained and played some great facilities. You know, some top tier. But these clubs in these really, you know, not really rude or anything, bottom of the barrel sort of areas. You know, Walker, Leamington, places like this, where they've got some of the worst pitch I've played on, where these kids are expected to pay subs to turn out this shocking facilities, and
you know, is it in Warwickshire, Leamington?
No.
Oh,
It's in Newcastle.
I thought you meant Leamington Spa.
I've been there.
But it's, you know, that's the type of clubs that need the funding as well. I wasn't on about every grassroots, you know. Some of them are really well off. Both added, you know, Whitley Bay, for the shout out, have got a fantastic stadium, you know, a great community atmosphere. And then the juniors have got a whole sports camp built with 4G pitches, all these fields done, that and a whole clubhouse.
I think the way, like what I was saying then, my point was as well, that if you fund the FA and the EFL Trust were to fund the community initiatives that every club has properly, the ones that the Premier League have, like you have, there's quite a few of them, Chelsea have them, like loads, most of them have them.
Definitely, but also I feel like you need to give now credit where credit's due to the fact that they've given something. Also,
you do.
Another thing that the Premier League have done, they've got an initiative where they give money to non-league clubs to help with pitch renovations and stuff like that. Chester got a few £1,000s out of that, which is nice.
Brilliant.
It's things like that are so like crucial and helpful to non-league clubs. So like I feel like while the funding definitely does need to be better, give credit to the Premier League for the fact that they are giving some of the money back. But this doesn't need to be a one-time thing. This has got to be consistent.
It's got to be consistent.
Some clubs spend beyond their means, absolutely. But at the end of the day, some clubs sometimes simply can't afford to keep going. And I think a lot more money needs to be filtered down to grassroots. And I promise, there's
only one club that I will say that I will always respect for what they did for us. That was Man United. They did it twice. Once before we died, and when we almost went under again in 2016, they put in a decent over 100k for Regan Paul, who only played one game for the club, and I think that was off the bench in the Europa League game as well. And normally when you make a transfer, the money doesn't always have to go in instantly. You normally won't get the money instantly. You normally get it a bit later. But Man United are like, right, we're going to pay you straight away, because we were like, that meant a lot to us.
Was that the Glazer? Was that the time of the Glazers? Yeah.
I have no idea, mate.
How long ago was it?
Well, a few years. It was only like 5 years ago. It would have been.
A lot of Man United fans will not agree with that, but obviously
of course they won't. But like, they got different reasons. Which is fair enough.
I'll also give credit as well to Liverpool, who helped us. I think we was on the brink of going out of business in either 2017 or 2018. I think it would have been 2017. we had really bad financial struggles towards the end of our relegation season, so it would have been 2018, early 2018 right at the start. They loaned us a goalkeeper called Andy Firth for free, now plays for Rangers. They paid all his wages, and then they gave us a pre-season friendly in the summer, which would have sold out if it wasn't on the same day as England v Sweden in the World Cup, but still managed to sell out 4,500. And we made quite a bit of money off that, so that was a nice
4,500 is quite decent.
They played a strong team as well. They put out Navigator made his debut against us. They put out, who else did they play? Daniel Sturridge played, James Milner played, Karius was there. It was relatively decent side. I think Andy Robertson might have played, I can't remember, but and then Matic was there as well. I think it was a good side.
It's just a lot of these Premier League clubs, I feel like they don't get the credit they deserve because sometimes people don't see it as much, like we've just discussed.
Yeah, it's very narrow. Some people are just quite narrow-minded. They don't sort of realise what's going on. One point I was going to make as well is I promised I wouldn't get political. The government in particular, I know when Labour were fighting the election, it might have been the most recent one or the one before, put in their manifesto that more money would be filtered down to grassroots football. That needs to be a policy that is implemented by the Premier League, filter more money down to low league football, and that has to be implemented from the top, and I'm talking the government.
Right, boys, so the last thing I wanted to discuss with us today is the new 5 substitution rule. What do you think?
I've got my own thoughts on this.
Go on.
On one hand, I think it's a good idea if it's implemented how I think it should be implemented in the game. And this comes down to they should have the 2 as youth academy products, because you would know the state of the academies and the academy players coming up. So those 2 substitutes, as law made by the Premier League or the FA or whoever, should be those 2 spots are reserved for academy products coming up to give them some game time. So it gets English football flowing more than it already is. And Welsh and Scottish.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it implemented, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the 5 substitute rule implemented. I think 3 is fine. However, what I think they need to do and what they need to focus their attention on a lot more is an injury sub.
Yes.
So if a team's used all 3 subs and then a player gets injured in the last 5 minutes, it's not fair to that team that they are then left with 10 men.
Yeah, but then you've got people, then would that not encourage people to have fake injuries? Or would it have to be like how do you...
serious injury, mate? Like, I think a referee can give permission that you can use it.
Yeah,
a referee's got to give the signal.
Yeah.
A referee should be able to give permission
contact to be like, right, okay.
Give him a sub.
If he's talking to the medical team, then also you can't really talk to the medical team.
I mean, us against Leicester, we had 4 injuries in that game. We had to make 3 subs, and we got another injury.
Do you agree with the 4th substitution if it goes to extra time?
I do. I don't mind that. That's all right.
That's all right. Yeah. The thing is, do you know what the problem for me with the 5 subs is, right? So, say a League 2 club is playing a Premier League club, right? And the League 2 club's 1-0 up. So, for example, when we played with 1-0 up against Tottenham, they brought on Son. Don't know who else they brought on, but Son was like a key person they brought on.
They brought on Keane, didn't they?
Kane already started. Kane
started.
So you've already get they're in a poor position already because they've not filled their first side, and now they've brought 3 first-team players on, right? That already puts you in trouble.
I think it definitely...
If you put on 5, that's half a squad.
I think it definitely encourages teams to put out reserve sides.
So what do you think about academy, though? Like, them 2 rules reserved for academy players?
If it was academy players, like, say if it was like... Who was it? Juan Foyth, even though he started.
Yeah.
I
can understand that position.
The academy players.
I can understand
that. As someone, like, look, you've got some academy players coming up now, but...
So would it have to be, like, under 21s, do you think?
Under 21s and players who aren't, like, constantly in that first start lineup.
Yeah, what I'm saying, like, if there's an academy product in the first start lineup, so everyone could find a loophole and be like, oh, well, he came from our academy. Yeah, he scored 25 goals this season, but, you know, would it have to be, like,
under 18 or an under 21 player?
Yeah, an under 21 who... isn't like a constant starter, so you kind of have, you know, your Phil Foden and someone like that.
They must have made like less than 10 appearances.
So someone like Phil Foden or for Newcastle like Kel Watts, someone like that. That type of substitute should be reserved for if the Premier League bring that into place. I'm forward. If it's just you can bring on whoever the hell you want. I'm very much against it, but I think this could be a great. So
it can be done if it's done the right way. It can be good.
I feel like if they're going to increase the amount of substitutions you're allowed in a league fixture, increase it by 1 and give it to an academy prospect or give it to whatever.
Yeah.
Encourages more young players to come on.
Because it would give them a good kick up the arse. The academies, like the way they have been, the academy system at the minute is awful. It's like, oh yeah, you're too small, you're not getting any game time. Or if you go to some League 2 side,
I understand why.
Let them.
I understand why.
I'll go to a League 2 side.
You know what I mean? Like,
worked in on Bernie's favour.
I
Scored a hat-trick first 10 minutes. Went to Bristol Rovers. Where's he now? Kicking about near a European place.
Yeah.
Scored his first senior goal for Chester.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I get why it's there now. I absolutely understand why it's there now. The whole fitness.
At the moment,
But
do you feel like
behind closed doors games.
At the end of the day,
do you feel like they've wanted to bring this in for a while and they've just used now as the pivot thing to go, oh yeah.
This brings me to another discussion about something the FA are doing.
Alright.
So they're scrapping replays for the next FA Cup.
Yeah, I
feel like the FA have taken this as the perfect opportunity to go, brilliant, let's get rid of replays. And then, I swear to God, if this goes beyond, I understand it next season, the schedule is a lot tighter. You've got to play more Tuesday night games. Our season starts October the 3rd with an FA Cup game.
No, I totally get this, because the thing is, look at these replays. These replays can be vital for some of these clubs.
Absolutely massive.
Like our replays against Tottenham, Wembley, big. Our replays against Middlesbrough, big.
But there's been talk about getting rid of replays for a while. They got rid of the 5th round ones. They got rid of the I think they got rid of the 5th rounds. They've definitely got rid of the quarterfinal ones.
It's 5th round and after.
Yeah, so they're progressively just getting rid of more replays. If the FA can get them rid at once,
and do you know what that is?
Brilliant for them.
Do you know what that is?
Little bomb packages.
Pep Guardiola, right? Arsene Wenger, and a few other. They were the main two, but a few of the Premier League managers and Klopp as well. They were all like, right, can we just get rid of them because we got too many games already? Well, that's your problem.
So win the match then.
I mean, exactly. Like,
even
win your match.
Even those too many games, Premier League clubs have more depth than any club in a league below them. And
it's
all the clubs
alone
in the lower leagues,
random.
not only do a club in the Football League play 8 more league fixtures a season, they play potentially 2 more cup games, depending on the first and second round.
Yep.
Then non-league teams play all the qualification rounds.
Mhm.
Plus, obviously, non-league teams play either 46 games or 42 games in the league season. Like they also play FA Trophy. You've got the Techno Trophy for the the Premier League clubs have
The Premier League clubs. Most Premier League clubs they have 38 Prem games, and these are the games that are guaranteed. 38 Prem games, 1 League Cup game, 1 FA Cup game, right? So that's 40 games. Still 6 less than the Football League. League fixtures, and then plus we have.
I think we have to play at least three Techno games.
So we have 3 Techno games, an FA Cup game, and a League Cup game. That's 11 more already, and that's before Europa League, Champions League going.
Yeah, I get there's the European games as well, but that's 7 teams.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not being funny. Like, Premier League clubs have got it a lot easier compared to, considering the depths of the squads as well.
It will just show the bias.
So, if anything, you know what this shows? Instead of Scotland players, how about academy players? Who would have known there's a simple solution, giving the young lads a chance?
Or, another simple solution, if you're a Premier League side, stop underestimating these lower league side when you play against them and play an actual geeky.
I feel like, do you know what, the academy prospect thing?
Not saying that means they'll definitely win.
Look at the FA Cup this season. For Shrewsbury going to Anfield, they had to go and play an under-23s team. If I was a Shrewsbury fan, I'd not be excited for that whatsoever. I'd be sat there like, this is just it's a glorified Techno Trophy game.
You see, the argument when it comes to that though is I get for your fans, but for the young lads who are getting a chance to go out
brilliant.
in the FA Cup for the home side are like,
fair enough.
Here we go, boys.
Fair enough. That's brilliant.
We've done the same first teams like Met Police and other teams you played.
Yeah, just having them young lads come out and just go.
Give it.
Look at the badge. Look, I'm playing for my boyhood club here. I'm literally going out for Newcastle, Manchester United, who I've supported as a youngster all the way up, and I'm stepping out on the pitch.
But simply, it's
representing.
Simply, if they're gonna get rid of replays, then they're just proving that the FA Cup only matters. The only thing. No. In fact,
if you only just realize.
No. Here's my point actually. The FA Cup care more about the Premier League clubs, but the Premier League clubs don't really care about the FA Cup. The Football League clubs and the non-league clubs care more about the FA Cup.
I think some Premier League clubs don't care about the FA Cup.
Yeah, because it doesn't make the money.
We're the most guilty of that. Completely. We're a team who, from the start until this season, haven't given a flying.
It doesn't make you. It doesn't make you know. Like a lot of them, they could just get their money from Champions League and Europa League, win the league, making those Champions League places as well. a lot of them just don't care anymore. And that's a fact. It just is. And then for these football league clubs, if we made like 400 grand from the game in the FA Cup, right, that's massive for us. Our FA Cup runs over the last years will keep us going and get us through this pandemic, right?
Yeah.
For the Premier League teams, they don't care.
Sure, I absolutely agree that Premier League clubs should put more effort and more care into the FA Cup. But then we all agreed about the depths of squads and stuff like that. Or Premier League clubs, they've got a lot easier because they play less games and they've got better squad depth. And then they start using that squad depth and then we start criticising.
Yeah, you are right. But then again, if you're going to use
I don't agree with Jurgen Klopp not turning up to an FA Cup.
Yeah, that was
ridiculous.
That was
mental.
He made himself look like a complete dick there.
Yeah. If you're gonna put the depth out, right, do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Some first team.
But then
I agree with that.
Just because you don't care about the FA Cup doesn't mean there shouldn't be replays and there shouldn't be.
No, there should absolutely. I'm not
100% should be replays.
There should 100% be replays.
100%. As a Premier League fan and as a Newcastle fan whose club do not give a flying shit about the Premier League, the FA Cup, sorry, it's like, as fans, I absolutely love the FA Cup. I think it's probably one of the best tournaments.
It's the best thing.
Yeah.
The magic of the FA Cup when
it's the best tournament in the world.
Non-league side beats a Premier League side, it's like, oh, here we go, where
even gets to play, mate. He even gets to, imagine a non-league side, Chester, if we drew like United at home, managed to somehow get a draw out of it, going to Old Trafford on a Tuesday night under the lights would be absolutely unbelievable. You scrap replays, we don't get that opportunity. We've got to rely on getting an away game in the draw. We've got to rely on that. I know it's all look at the draw, or whatever, but I'm not being funny. If we earn a draw, we deserve the chance to go to.
Yeah, it's like who's that team earlier in the season? Because obviously there was a bye in the FA Cup, and they got
Chichester City.
That's it, Chichester, right? They didn't have to because obviously Bury weren't a club. So there was a bye in the first round, and Chichester did a lot just to get that first round anyway.
Yeah,
and they happened to be the club who got the bye, and the scenes in their dressing room when they were all watching it.
Brilliant.
That's the cup for you. Like you're not playing a big team. But the money they've got from that alone,
so like closer to getting a Prem club.
We're in the second round of the FA Cup here.
Who did they play? Did they play like Pompey or someone?
Portsmouth.
I think it might have been.
I thought it was Portsmouth.
Was it Portsmouth?
Have a look.
Yeah, quickly.
Oh, they played Tranmere.
That's still a good game.
Yeah, they played Tranmere and got beat 5-1. I think didn't they? Oh no, they scored a goal like in stoppage time and their fans like limbs in the away end. It's correct.
But brilliant for the club, yeah.
Exactly, because if that goes, if the replays and stuff like that goes, then the FA Cup will just what's going to happen next? What's the next step? Premier League clubs having the option to play in the FA Cup.
Don't even know.
What's next? Putting under 23 teams in the FA Cup, like they have with the Checker Trade.
Right, it's been a bit of technical difficulties, but so you'll be just about to see Johnny.
Yeah.
But
in fact,
let's gather around Johnny.
Well done, mate, boys. Look at this.
There we are. Lovely. Yeah, all I'm gonna say is the money that the FA Cup can bring, right, to these clubs now during this pandemic as well, will be vital for these clubs going forward.
Yeah, I get them scrapping replays now, but don't do it.
Anyway, that's gonna be the end of the podcast.
Bit of an unexpected end, like we gathered on the same camera.
Yeah, this is a great.
Just kicked something, but brilliant.
This is a great selfie, and yeah, goodbye. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.